Hello everyone and welcome to another update on the BNSF Madison Subdivision and HO scale. As you can see, even just from the initial view, I've managed to get a lot done in the evenings this week. So we'll take a quick trip around the layout and I'll show everything I've worked on lately. So clearly I've got all the road bed and track down, or at least most of it. I have the main line, the runaround track, and the spurs for the grain elevator and the ethanol plant in. I ended up running out of track based on what I had salvaged from previous layouts. So I laid everything I could. So I've got that done. We're looking at Madison right now. These grain silos are just some I had. That's not going to be the final grain elevator here. The final elevator here will be much larger than this. You can see I've got some of my BNSF hoppers out here. I've got 11 of these on the layout at the moment, which is as many cars as will fit in the runaround. So that'll be the maximum train length on the layout. I've got 16 of these cars total, but all of them won't fit on the runaround, and frankly, that'd be overpowering for such a small layout anyway. I've also got a couple locomotives out that I've been using. The X Santa Fe unit is an Atlas that I've painted and weathered, and the BNSF-9 is a scale trains operator that I added some details to and weathered. So being an operator model, it's reasonably close. It doesn't have the gull wing cab, and there's a little bit, the vent arrangement's a little different, but it's reasonably close, and it was a great price for a locomotive with sound once a few details were added. But continuing around the layout, we can see, I've got the track down, I've got the fascia installed. Along with the fascia, I've got my throttle panels installed, so I can, actually run a train all the way around the layout. And I'll put a video in here of a train running. It's not very long, but I'm not much of a videographer, but it does show, a train running on the layout. So I mounted my throttle panels down at the edge of the fascia. I had seen someone else on YouTube do that, and I think it works pretty well for this because most of my framing is 1x3s, which are really, not tall enough to drill the holes in to fit these throttle panels in, so putting it down at the bottom of the layout works well enough. It's not the greatest looking, but it does the job. So continuing around, we can see, obviously more track and fascia. Come down. We got the tracks for the ethanol plant here. And another throttle panel. I've got 3 throttle panels out around the layout, plus the throttle jack at the command station. So 4 different places to plug in, and they're all lined up pretty well with areas where switching will be occurring. Continuing around the layout. Come into the north end of the industrial park where there is yet another throttle panel. And I've got the main line and the switches laid here. So it'll probably be next month before I end up getting any more track to finish this. And continuing down this way, we finally come to the last switch, which will be one of the switches for the staging yard. And the staging yard will come off this way and end up going over the top of that bookcase down there, where I've actually got some locomotives and cars sitting at the moment. But I need to get all the track for that. To access the rest of the room, there will be a lift gate right at the edge of the shown portion of the layout here. So the lift gate will have 2 tracks over it, and then once it actually gets into the main frame of the staging yard, there will be a 3rd shorter track that splits off. And the shorter track will work well for holding the Sioux Falls switcher, which is, just a single SW1500 and a few cars for the industrial part. So it doesn't have to be very long. But each of the 2 longer staging tracks are going to be about 9 feet long apiece, which will be good for 2 to 3 locomotives and 11 cars. I probably won't run 3 locomotives on a train very much unless it's the Cyclone local. Because 3 big locomotives on an 11-car grain train would sort of look ridiculous. But that pretty well covers everything I've got done. So the track, most of the track, the fascia, and the wiring. So from here, I'll be doing some pretty intensive testing of the track to make sure everything's running well, and so far I haven't had any I had one minor issue with the track leading down into the ethanol plant, because you can see that while the main line is laid on a mix of cork and Homa bed, the ethanol plant is down at ground level. So I've got a little wood shim under there. Was having a couple problems with derailments there, so I did some leveling and I seem to have got it fixed. As far as the track goes, it's mostly Atlas Code 83 on the main line with some microengineering Code 70 in places. And then the turnouts are a mix of Atlas and Pico with one Walther's curved turnout down here at the south switch at Madison. So I could get 11 cars on the runaround, which makes for a reasonable sized train. So that pretty well sums up what I've done. I'll stick a short video of the train running on the layout, this grain train, when it was being brought from Sioux Falls up into Madison, into the video, and that'll wrap it up. So thank y'all for watching. So if y'all haven't checked out the Facebook page, there's a link down in the description for that too. So, all right.